Hi there, everybody. Good day to you. Welcome back. Glad you guys are here. We're currently working on this. I think it's an '05 Chevy 2500 Silverado. But I wanted to take a quick break this morning, and we're going to do a quick tour. I actually need to organize this place a little bit more because I need to get that truck into the big rack over here. We've got to get it up in the air. So I'm going to take a moment to organize the shop some. We've had the place in disarray all week long because we started cleaning and degreasing, and it's very evident over here. If we look at the before, that's the before. Yeah, before over there. This is after. We've been pressure washing and scrubbing and garden hosing and washing this out and getting all the nasty off of all the buildup. And you know, I was going to paint these walls, but I'm actually considering just kind of leaving them alone. They're actually they're cleaning up very nicely. You see, all this started after a moment of reflection that we had last week. I recall when I moved into this shop back before we took down that building and built the third stall, how I remember saying to myself, you know, we need to come in here, we'll clean these walls up, clean the floor out, we'll move some stuff in, and we're ready to rock and roll. Well, that process went a little faster pace than what I anticipated, and I sort of skipped step one. And step one was clean up the walls. I ended up going straight for hanging lights, moving in tools, organizing some things, trying to get a client base set up. I ended up moving into the office and setting that up, and I neglected all of the nasty that had been built up on all the walls everywhere. And then right around the time when we were almost functioning as a business, I decided to triple down my efforts, tear down a building that was in here, and then tear down a wall, and then put up a garage door, and then put in another lift, and then do all this other stuff. And I realized, like I said earlier this week, that we failed to even clean this place out before we got started. It's like we hit the ground running and never looked back. And this week, as I said earlier, we had a few appointments cancel on us for various reasons. I think it was like 3 actually. And because of those 3 cancellations, I had some extra time on my hands. So I decided to use that time for the benefit of the company, and we would get all this nasty business cleaned out of here. That way, I can hang up some proper decor. Troy's up there slaving away. He's even removing paint, dude. Look at that. Good job, buddy. Thank you, sir. He's got a green scrubby. Troy, show us your green scrubby. It does the work so you don't have to. Is that a kitchen scrubby? That's the best stuff. Those things clean anything. So anyway, we're up here. Paint. Troy's stripping the paint. Amaya's cleaning down below. Then we're hosing it off. You want to say hi? Hi. And then we're hosing it off and getting the nasty out of here. Then we've got to clean the floor because that's all paint chips. Probably got lead in it and asbestos and whatever else. Toxic paint chemicals. But we're going to get... She's shaking her head over there like, whatever, this guy. So what I'm going to do real quick is I need to move these toolboxes out of this area because I need to get access to it, and I've got stuff piled up and I have no idea where anything is right now. So I'm going to start to roll some of this stuff over here and sort of get the area cleared up a little bit. And then we're going to get that truck on this rack, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the rear diff cover on that thing. If you recall from the last video on this truck, and I know we've had like a couple Silverados and they're all gray and white this week, but the last one on this truck, link to the part 1 down in this video's description. One of the complaints was the customer had heard a loud clunking noise when going from drive to park and park to drive, or reverse to drive, or reverse to park. And it looked to me like we had a little bit of excessive play in that differential back there. So we're gonna get this thing on the lift. We're gonna pop that differential cover off of there, and we're just going to give it a visual inspection. We're at higher mileage on this particular truck, so doing a differential fluid exchange would be beneficial regardless, but rather than just pulling the drain plug out and sucking out all the fluid with the machine, we're actually going to remove that cover. That way we can clean everything out really nice like, and get a good deep look at the internals to see if there's any excessive wear, loose bearings, or damage, anything of that nature. So bear with me for a minute. I'm gonna put you guys over here, and we're gonna go into super high speed, lightning fast motion, and we're gonna get some of this congestion out of the way, clean the floors out some, and we're gonna get that truck in the shop lickety split. So stay tuned, because this is gonna be a very good video. Okie dokes, kind of so far so good. It's the stuff's back on the wall. This is not going to be the permanent home of these particular items. but I have that wall now cleared so we can continue working, and then the stuff is in at least a straight line now so I can, you know, gain some access to it. Yes, I know it's a cluster everywhere. Gigantic mess. I'm aware. It's getting sorted out. This is all the stuff that was on the shelves that became piled up off of the shelves once we started this little project. So no worries, I'll clean that up too. But for now, I need to go ahead and fetch our Silverado because I do have some work to do at some point today. Can't pay the bills if I'm not working on cars. Okay, now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, let's go ahead and get our 05 Silverado 3/4 ton heavy duty back into the shop. The scan tool is still in this unit. Restarting the engine. So since we're on a cold start here, beep, let's fire our scanner back up and check our misfires from yesterday. I don't think we have any, but we're gonna go ahead and take a look anyway. Okay, going into engine, automatic transmission is our option. We want data to be displaying, and we're looking for engine misfire data. What do we have? Survey says, look at those non-misfires. Let's give it some throttle. Look at that. Nothing. Love it. I fixed it. Nothing in history, nothing in current. Wunderbar. Das ist gut, ja? Okay, so here's the situation here. We're gonna back this thing out of the service drive, spin it around, back it into our corner over there, and then we're gonna get it on the rack, and that's gonna give me ample space to get a hold of that rear differential. Simultaneously, while that's occurring, I'm gonna have Troy come down off that ladder and do the engine oil change with filter. And while that's happening, simultaneously, well, at the same time, while that's happening, I'm gonna pull that rear differential cover off, and we're gonna get a gander at the axle internals. I believe this is a full floating rear axle on this truck. All right, we are rounding the corner of death with the door of doom. It's like a whole new nickname for that situation. Cutting it to the right. We're gonna swing past our little fan and get this unit maneuvered right on into its home. Let's make sure I don't run into this door. It is a tight squeeze getting these large trucks in here, but it can very easily be done if the proper attention is paid to the obstacles. One of the worst obstacles is actually going to be that lift arm right there, because we kick it out a little bit too wide coming in, so we got to straighten her back out, move past that lift arm, and then straighten it out again. If that rack in the corner was at a little bit more of an angle, it might I might not have to do like a multi-point S-turn type of situation, but this is definitely not a rack that is in a good position for the inexperienced, because this is not easy to get these in. I mean, it's easy for me, I've been doing this for a long time, but for the uninitiated, it can be quite difficult, I think. Now, oftentimes in the comments I see people asking, why don't I just move this big rack over there to that little middle stall so we can just come straight in, and then move that little rack over here to the corner? And the answer is quite simple. These are not my racks, and it's expensive to move those. It's like 900 bucks a piece. It'll shut down the shop for 2 days, and it'll actually cause more of a problem in this building, because if this large rack is over there, then that means I have less space to get cars in over here. And additionally, if I did have a car in over here, or over there for that matter, the other stall would be cut off. So it would only be allowing one vehicle in and out at a time, and if there was another one on either one of the racks, it would, well, if there was one on that rack, it would block this one from coming in and out. So that's why I don't do it. The current configuration seems to be working just fine, and I'm gonna stay with that. Plus, they're not my racks. If it was my building and these were my racks, I would tear that office out over there, put another door in at the end, and then, or maybe another one over there too, probably 2 doors, why not? And then have 2 racks staggered at angles pointed out in that direction, or have a big drive-on alignment stall. Hello, darling, what you doing? But it's not my building, so that's not what we're doing. I'm working with what I got to work with here. Any hoosers, phew, let's power this thing down, re-popping the hood, and we'll get this thing up in the air. All right, let's get back under our bonnet here. We're gonna wake up this LQ4 V8, and then I'll get that machine connected to it for the AC service. Someone's been here before. Look, brand new valve ends. Good. How about that one? Is that one newish? Can't tell. Regardless, let's get this thing recovered. They said that the AC underperforms on occasion, meaning it may just be low on its charge or the compressor's on the fritz. Let's find out right about now, and then we'll go from there. Side note, it is so hot out across the country right now that everyone's AC is underperforming. Again, once you get into those temperatures in the upper 90s, I don't care what you got, your AC is not going to run as well as you would like. That's just the way. There's only so much heat differential that can be created. All right, machine powering on, beep. Okay, let's cruise on in over here. We'll get our valves and whatnotters connected there. And I'm gonna go restart the engine so we can get a pressure reading on what we've got going on here. And then while that thing's setting up, I'll set the rack and we may proceed with the plan at hand. Restarting the engine, AC full blast, it's on full code, cold. Set it on 4, recirculation and snowflake for maximum coldness. All right, around here, pressures look decent. Yeah, that's pretty much right on. 30 and 200, okay. Let's see what's going on down here. How's our fan doing? Let's check our fan. Shut this off one more time. See if our fan is not fanning. Yeah, that's a good fan clutch. I'm not worried about that. Okay. All right, here's the deal. We're making cold air in the interior. Let's shut this back down. I'm just gonna go ahead, recover this system. This is an orifice tube system, which means it does not have a thermal expansion valve. There's a little orifice inside of here. You see those little pinches right there? Those are what keeps that orifice in position. I'm just gonna go ahead and recover this. We're gonna crack this open and take a look at that tube. It also acts as a filter. Recover. And if there's any kind of debris, contaminants, restrictions, or anything of that nature that would indicate a problem with the system, it's gonna show up at that little orifice. So, we'll just have that thing recover. By the time I get this rack set, the machine should be done. It'll tell us how much charge is in there, and then if everything's all fine, I pull it apart, and the orifice is fine, then no further work will be required. But we'll cross that bridge in a moment. A memento. Oh, I don't want to get in the water. There's too much floor water. I really like this rack. This lift though, this rack, it's easy to set up. Very easy. With the properly sized vehicle. Okie dokes, the machine is nearly finished recovering. Rack is set on both sides. Let's move on over to our green subscribe button. That's what we do here. We'll get this thing up in the air some. We'll work on the fluid situation, and then we'll make a determination with that AC in a short time once this thing comes back down. Hey Troy, come over here, dude, real quick. I want you to do something while I've got this up in the air. See that blocky tread? Yeah. Feel that, how it's like kind of chopped up? Well, we're gonna go ahead and rotate these, okay? Now, normally 90% of the time you can just rotate front to back, but since these have like this feathered edges, when we rotate them, I wanna do a cross on the front. So we're gonna take the left front, and that's gonna go back and over to the other side. So we get to change the axle and then flip it and change direction of rotation, and hopefully it'll help wear that stuff back down. Because if we look at the one back over here, you can see this one is not choppy and blocky. See how it's nice and even? Yeah. So we need to flip those around. These can go straight forward, that's fine. So just go straight ahead with the rears and then cross the fronts. Okay. So do that. I'm gonna start pulling the differential cover off of this. Once you get these wheels off, we'll run this up a little bit higher. Go ahead and grab the oil drain bucket and spill the oil and pull the filter off, okay? Definitely. Thank you, senor. Going back up the rest of the way, all the way up, mostly. Most of the way up. Enough for me to get down there with a drain pan and a stool, and then roll around in the water. Okay, let's move the AC machine out of the way, and it looks like we recovered 1.116 pounds of refrigerant. Okay, we're gonna need the drain bucket, not the green one. We need the black one, or the red one. It's the red and black one. Let's roll this guy over and get this underneath the diff. Let's pop that cover off. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Make it a weight. All right, so the northern exposure here is starting to expose itself underneath of this back of this truck here. We've got a whole boatload of surface rust, including a bunch that's on this diff cover and its bolts. That's mildly concerning, but I'm pretty sure I can get these guys to come off. Spare tires, that's pretty rough. I mean, it's not horrible back here. We can tell someone showed it some love. It's got new backing plates on the rear brakes. Those have been rotted off. Same thing over here on that side. Okay. So let's see if this 1/4-inch driver is going to take these bolts out. Yes. Maybe. It will. That's a good way to burn up your little gun. I'm going to switch it out to the 3/8. Bigger gun. Yeah, unfortunately, the performance numbers of the little gun just aren't going to do it. That's slipping. Okay. Now we're getting into that danger zone. It's too much rust. Fasteners are kind of rounded off because they have been oxidized. Get rid of that. All right, so since the 13mm is starting to round off on some of these, we're going to switch it over to a 1/2 inch. And I actually think that 1/2 inch right there might round off. That still feels pretty loose. That's a little scary. Unclip. All right, that one's gonna go. There we go. Strong size fasteners to the rescue here. Come on. Hey. All right, that one turned. Sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to find new bolts. These are not okay. I fear they'll never go back. Well, I mean, they'll go back in, but I don't know if I can get them to torque. Good thing the chrome's warranty. Come on, there we go. All right. Getting there. 2 more to go, and the one up at the top is kind of scary to me. We'll see. Get on there, please. Get on there now. There. Those rust chunks falling onto my knees are incredibly annoying and uncomfortable. It's like a brace of dust. Get on there. All right, 1 to go. Are we gonna trip? Oh, never mind, 2 to go. I can't count. Why won't it read and count? All right, that one's turning. Fun little trick when you get your fastener stuck in a socket. Hit it with a hammer. It'll come out. That one's pretty rusted and worn out. Let's take this one loose. It's turning. Yes, all right. All right, we're not gonna pull that out yet because I need to pry bar this away and then spill all the fluid out of it. And we don't want that fluid to just dump everywhere and then saturate me. Because then I'll have rusty, oily fluid saturation on my legs. That would not be okay. You did that. Okay, so now all I need to do is get behind this cover with some pry bar action here. And then it'll separate, spill all the fluid out, and we can get it removed. I'm gonna look for a replacement cover on this. I think it's pretty rusted out. Okay, let's pull the cover off. Last bolt. Ooh. All right, so don't forget, we're back in here because we're trying to find some excessive wear in play while driving, because it was making this loud clunky noise between gears. So let me get this thing out of the way some. I'm gonna grab a hold of that drive shaft there, and we're gonna use that to turn the pinion gear, which is way back inside of that diff. Can we see it from up top? Not really. But what we're looking for here, it's way back there. What we're looking for is some excessive play, which I do feel a little bit of extra lash right here. But one thing I'm noticing is right there. You guys see that? See that really weird gear wear going on right there? This is not particles that are built up. This is metal that has been shaved off of the gear face surface. See this one right here? There's another one. Another little tab. Yeah, there's some excessive wear going on inside of this differential. There's some more of it right there. Piece of metal that's flaking off. And we can also see right down here on the magnet, there's a whole bunch of metal starting to build up right there. It's a little chunky. Yeah, there is some metal chunks in there. So yeah, that's not the greatest. This rear end's kind of on its way out. Again, it's making noise, it's clunking, and we've got some weird, goofy wear on the ring gear here. I imagine the more we take this thing apart, the more destruction we could possibly find in here. So here's our options on what to do. We either do nothing, put the cover back on it, fill it full of fluid and send it, have a nice day, and when it finally dies, it dies. Or we figure out what the best and most cost-effective repair for this situation is going to be. It needs a rebuild. If this thing comes out, and bearings are going to go back in. If I pull the axles out, I'm going to do axle bearings. You know, it's going to get the full Monty. The question is a remanufactured unit cheaper or more expensive than the cost of parts and labor to do the actual rebuild on it? That's something for me to price out and a decision for the customer to make, so I need to write that up. But I am going to recommend at this point that we go ahead and do some kind of repair service on this axle. Yeah, I don't like what's going on here at all. Like, look at that. That's a huge piece of flaked away metal. See that? And it's so thin, I could actually pull it away with a fingernail. It's kind of gross, but it is what it is. So let's we try to turn this thing some, and we'll see if we can't find any additional damage in here to really solidify our case. Just give it a rotation around, see if we can find any chunks missing out of any of the gear faces or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of play in that. It's just worn. I think it's just worn from age. That fluid in there is not the greatest, and there's been pieces of metal swimming around inside of it. Yeah, we've got that goofy pattern all the way across. The actual wear pattern is leaving the edge of the gears here. I'm gonna recommend a rebuild on this, or a replacement unit with a remanufactured unit. I think that's the way to go here. Alrighty, so now we have some direction and a good idea on what's going on with the noise in the rear. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this green drain pan in. We're gonna roll the red one out because the red one has too much altitude. Let's go ahead and let this thing down and crack open that AC system just to see if there's any damage and contaminants on that unit. And then we can go ahead and get this written up for estimation, and we'll see what we're gonna do next. I see Troy's got the oil change complete. Show. Get that off our lock. Release. Coming down. Silverado. All the way down. There she goes. Well, not all the way down, most of the way down. If it comes down all the way, then it'll be sitting on the ground, and that's not good for the brake. We don't want to do that. All right, I think that's about good. I can reach under the hood over here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open up this line right here, remove the orifice tube out of there, and we'll inspect it for contaminants and debris and compressor material and whatnot. So what we're gonna need, it looks like a 22 and a 19. We'll just crack that nut loose, fingers crossed. We'll crack that nut loose, separate the line, and then go in there with some needle noses and pull that orifice assembly out of the tube. Okay, 22 and a 19 coming in. See how I've got these wrenches close together? I can utilize the power of the flanges to provide the torque rather than like yanking on the thing and potentially twisting up the line, which I think it actually might do. No, we're good. There we go. Is it gonna separate? Yes, it is. Okay, now the orifice is down in that hole, so I need to reach in there with some needle nose and pull the thing out. Here, let's try it with my bent pliers. I bent these specifically for this purpose. They used to be straight, but I stuck them in a vise and ruined them. That way I can get a hold of things like this, if it's gonna work. Can't even get a bite on that one. Here we go, she's coming out. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Found something. Okay, let's get in here for a closer examination of this orifice assembly. We give it some zoom action. You can see quite clearly that there is a bunch of, looks like metallic debris. And I don't know what that black stuff is. It must be compressor components. Yeah, the screen's still mostly clear, so we either already had a fresh failure from the old compressor, and this is what's left over in the condenser, or the compressor that's in there is starting to tear up. Now, I believe the compressor's already been replaced at some point, but this orifice is collecting some metal from inside of the system. Alrighty, X amount of time has passed, and here's the decision that's gonna be made. We're gonna go ahead and just clean this bit of debris off of this tube and put it back, and I'm just gonna swap some valves into this thing, recharge the system, and we're gonna let it ride. What I think this was from was leftover debris from the compressor failure that had occurred prior to this new compressor being installed. And it looks like they did not replace the condenser, so this is probably the debris that was in the condenser. Not a huge issue. And additionally, we're gonna do some more critical work to this truck besides chasing after some tiny specks of aluminum. So as it stands, the AC is gonna be left alone. It did perform fairly well, but again, it was a little bit low, and we kind of wanted to give it a checkup. So that's what the deal is with this situation at hand here. So what we need to do is go blow this thing out with the air gun. We'll get the thing back installed, then we can move on. Okay, orifice tube, air gun, blow all that nonsense out of here, clean it up. There we go, nice and shiny. Now we can put this thing back. All right, back up top. This guy is going back into its home like so. Just stick that guy right on in there. There we go. And let me peel this O-ring off and get a new one. I don't really care for that. Yeah, let's get a new one on there and we'll seal the system back up. AC service kit. Let's see what we have here. The winds are blowing. Gravity. Let's see. That one, no. This one, no. No, 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 no. That one, maybe. Try this one here. Loud noises. Okay, the ID's pretty close and the OD's pretty close. I think this one's slightly larger than what I need. Let me check. Let's check this one over here. That one's a negative. Nope. How about this one? I think we might have a winner. Yepper, that one's good to go. We got a winner. So let's put that one back. Whoa, don't go anywhere. The wind's blowing. Right in front of the fan. Error. Mistake. There we go. Okay, got a new O-ring. Let's get that guy back on over the tube and we will assemble and move on. Lauren, darling wife unit, she is seeking a replacement axle. I've built together the price quote to take that axle apart back there and repair it, and I think we're going to be on par with simply just replacing the assembly with the new Rainman unit and being done with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing snugged down a little bit. We'll throw the hoses back on and initiate the vacuuming sequence. Not super tight, because one day that's probably gonna have to come apart again. Clicks. Okay, real quick, let's pull these service ports out of this unit and change them out with some replacements. Whether or not they've been replaced before is of no matter to me. I think they have, but I'm still gonna put some new ones in. Drop that down in there. Tighten her up. Finger click. There we go. And of course the one on our low side fitting here. Come here. There we go. I couldn't get my tool in the hole. It was not lining up properly. Come here. Come out, you. There it is. Yeah, that may have been replaced before also, but I don't care. I'm replacing it again. Mr. Troy, would you hit that vacuum resume button on the machine there, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Clicks. Okay, machine's going. Let's get our fittings back on. Open up the valves. And we'll pull this machine down, or pull the system down rather. Click that one on. Good to go. All right. And now we wait, 10-minute vacuum proceeding. Alrighty, so we got Troy finishing up the engine oil and filter replacement. Say hi, Troy.
Hi.
Aha, he speaks. Got it. Machine's almost done vacuuming. We got 3 minutes left. We'll install the 1.6 pounds of refrigerant into this unit, and then we're kind of on hold with moving forward until we know a direction we're going to take with this axle repair back here. Yeah, you got 6 quarts in it, right? Did you put a filter on it? Very critical. Does the 710 cap point the right direction?
It does.
It does? All right, you're good to go. Begin starting the engine now, please, sir. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, it didn't work. He doesn't care. It didn't even work. No? No effect? That didn't work on you? All right, you're good. Go ahead and shut it off. Let's recheck the oil level. And we've got 27 seconds left before refill action. Here, I can take that thing and put that back on. Don't worry, I'll fix that wire nut later. It's not gonna leave here with that wire nut. We don't do that. Ah, machine is done. Good. Vacuum complete. We have to get all the moisture and the air out of the system because AC systems don't work very well when there's moisture and air because they require refrigerant to carry the heat. Anyway, tangents, charging, not PoE system. What you got in that oil level over there, broski? I can't. Flip it over. No, flip it over. Your level is right there at that, that mark.
Quart?
No, another quart will put you up here.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's actually pretty perfect. You could do like a quarter quart. A quarter quart will put it up at the full line.
Okay.
Because that's not very much. Anyway, 1.60 pounds refrigerant. High side charge, beginning charging now. Fill it on up. High side's going in, low side's coming up. Very good. Okie dokes. All right, so we got a quarter quart of oil left in this. Say that 5 times fast. Quarter quart of oil. And I think we're all good so far until I get some word on availability on that axle, and then we'll see if we're actually going to go forward with that repair. If we are going to go forward with it, then we'll look forward to the next one. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but it's either going to happen or it's not. That being said, again, we're all done with this one, so I'm going to go ahead and close this video out right now. I will do such things as always by thanking each and every one of you guys for watching this video. Certainly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. Do not forget to tap that like button while you're down there, and most importantly, have yourselves a great day. See you guys later. End of Silverado, end of rear axle blown up, end of AC, end of oil change, end of tire rotation, end of inspection, end of P300, end of video.